it hack the future. My name is Beata Young, and today's PhD guest is Corinna Genchi. Topic: Overcoming Barriers in the Tech Industry. Episode 124, first in 2024, starts here. Let me remind you. This is a grassroots community that focuses on women on IT, an inclusive forum of women in technology, startups, and female leaders who are supported by men as well. And I bring heart to that hustle because empathy is my motto. And empathy is critical when you are overcoming barriers in the tech industry. Let me mention some very important things that's been happening in the world of technology and female entrepreneurs and so on. Congratulations to Bonnie Chan, the COO of Hong Kong Exchanges Group, who will be installed as the first female CEO of HiTechs, the world's fourth largest market operator by value in May 2024. Exciting news for the 2024. Cheers to Jibu Labs and its founder, CTO Madonna Wambua, on their first anniversary. Madonna was our guest just a couple of months ago, and I hope she keeps inspiring women with her knowledge and innovations. Delve into the gender equity gap. Tune in on January 10th at CES as Winnie CEO Sarah Mauskov shares her insight on closing the gender equity gap. We are eagerly anticipating your perspective on this. Best of luck, Sarah. And finally, my heart-left congratulations and all of our community go to Ola Kunish. Alexandra was a guest on number 38, Positivity Hack Delivered, and she became the personality of IT of 2023. Congrats, Ola. Gratulacje. Now let's go back to our topic: overcoming barriers in the tech industry. Are you ready to shatter the glass ceiling in the dynamic world of technology? Join us in a thought-provoking episode where we unravel the inspiring journey of our guest, Corinna Genchi, a software developer at Porsche Digital Barcelona, fellow Women Techmakers Ambassador.
Hello, everyone.
There you go. We are both very happy to represent Google as Women Techmakers Ambassadors, and we are very happy to bring you the knowledge how to enter the very complex world of technology. So, Corinna, lovely to see you and lovely to welcome you to the tribe of women tech makers. Tell us, what brought you to the Women Techmakers Ambassador scene?
So I got to know the Women Techmaker network basically on a LinkedIn ad, and I got curious about it. So I started to research information, and I see that it's a very cool network because either if you are a member or an ambassador, you get the opportunities to connect with so many other people from all over the world with the common goal to make tech a more equal space. And I really love that there is a lot of free training given, that there is a lot of networking opportunities. So I thought, why not using this platform for one thing that is very dear to me, that it's helping other women enter to tech and overall contributing to improve this field that has still a lot to do when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I thought, okay, let's try. Let's send the application to become an ambassador. And surprisingly, I got it because I thought that was just for maybe high content creator of people that already have achieved a lot in their career, while I am recently a new joiner in tech because I just switched career 2 years ago. Nevertheless, as I've always been a person involved in the community, I've always been a volunteer in very different fields, even before joining tech. And I have done still, even if my experience is quite still limited for from a technical point of view, but I'm learning every day, and I found that it's very useful to share those learning. Nevertheless, so I've always been involved in local communities here in Barcelona, and I was always volunteering to be mentor for somebody that has less experience than me, and help to even demystify a bit this field, that you don't have to be a math genius to be in tech. For example, I have this calculus. I completely not a math genius for the for the record. So this is why I joined. And I have a very positive experience so far. I'm usually more active in the mentoring side. So I have a few people that I mentor regularly about technical topic, but also about career growth. And I hope for the next year to be more involved in the whole Women Tech Maker activities, like, for example, the organization of the International Women Day. And it's something I'm very looking forward to it to be in.
Excellent. And you're entered not only technology field, but also automotive industry, which is so alien to many women. I mean, it's not just the fact that we are not, capable of driving cars or knowing how cars work, but really it's a boys' club, isn't it?
Looking from outside, I remember that when I saw the job offer for Porsche Digital, I was like, I don't even have a driver license, and I know nothing about cars. But I learned a lot along the way, of course, because I mean it's the product that it's Porsche. Who doesn't know Porsche? But I have to say that all the preconception I had about the automotive industry proven them wrong when I joined Porsche Digital Barcelona, because there are really a lot of cool things that I saw happening in this company that really makes like diversity, equity, inclusion comes to life. So even though automotive can be like, it's a boy club, because I mean, most of the advertisement maybe seems to be directed more to women, but I found this not to be completely true in Porsche. And there is a lot of emphasis in changing swiftly the paradigm. So my experience so far is like that both to be a woman in tech in the automotive industry has been very positive. Nevertheless, what one can think from the outside.
Well, I think it's kudos to your company that is not afraid to employ somebody who has no background, has no driving license, as you say, and but is planning to. Good luck for 2024, Corinna. We are hoping you're gonna squeeze through Barcelona at ease. So now the question is, what did you do before you entered technology field?
So originally I have studied political science, and my plan was always to be involved in like NGO profit or EU organization. So soon after I graduated, I enrolled in a program that is called the European Volunteering Service. Maybe now the name changed. That basically allows you to do a volunteering year with expenses paid for 1 year in one NGO around Europe. And so from there, it started my career as a project manager. So I specialized in EU-funded projects and in PR and communication that is needed for this project. So that was my field, because it was completely not related to tech. And I've been working in the organization for like 6 years. So it was quite high. But at some point, I felt that was not enough for me. Like I was not feeling that was it. Like that was what I wanted to do in my life. So then it changed.
That's good to know that you're very proactive, and the NGO or non-governmental or volunteering world is not strange for you, because it's definitely helps many women tech makers ambassador to enter into this ambassadorial role, because after all it's important to be motivated by the cause. And you're definitely a great role model to talk about the cause, which is bringing more diversity into technology. And since we are talking about diversity, we need a bigger crowd. And what could be better than talking to our lovely people in the background who are commenting? Olga Vecina, hello, Womanit. Great to see you back. Happy New Year, Beata and Corinna. Thank you so much, Olga. Lovely to see you too. I hope 2024 started for you with a bang and great spirit. And we have Ruben Hervas. Hi, saying hi with a smiley face. Lovely to see you all, and lovely to see those who are not chatting to us yet, but I'm sure they will have some questions to Corinna. So, Corinna, starting this shift going into technology and going into conferences and networking, I think that's the biggest really challenge, because it's not so much how you can prove yourself, but how can you make connections in the world where there are so many languages, so many people with different experiences and many different computer languages. So how did you mesh with a crowd?
So I think what helped me is that, well, for starter, I am a natural extrovert, so I really like to be around people and to talk with people and to meet new people. So that was something that really helped me out. But even if you are more in an introvert type, I think what can really help is to shift a bit the paradigm you have about yourself, because sometimes we pay too much attention to that kind of grumpy voices in the background of our head that says and focus on all the things that we are not enough good at it, that we are still lacking, the thing that we still don't know. And we assume that everybody else knows and it's already doing everything right. And this is a huge thing when you start networking, that maybe you feel like, oh, I'm out of place. Why I'm doing here if I'm just starting learning React? Why I have to go to this meetup that maybe has people that have 10 years seniority? But I think that that's exactly the reason why you should go there, because don't market yourself as somebody that doesn't know enough, that is not good enough at things, because maybe you don't know things yet, but then you will learn. And one I found very easily to learn when I'm learning from somebody else. Like, of course I like to read and to watch tutorials, but the learning that comes from community, it's a different things, because maybe there is an emotional component to it. So I really find it just to shake it off all the preconception in the back of the mind, and don't be scared and just throw in the pool.
Absolutely. Don't be scared. Just try, make conversation. And if it doesn't work, don't give up. We talked about that so often, not just when you're considering your career in technology, whether it's entrepreneurial journey, whether it's your startup and you're pitching your startup idea. Now, speaking about employment and speaking about getting that first job, securing that first job with no experience, because we talked about it with our previous guests so often. I can't get a job because I have no experience. I have no experience because I can't get a job. How did you break through that argument when you went to that first technical job interview?
Because in reality, even if you think you don't have any experience, you have it. Especially if you are a career changer, you have experience from your previous job. And there are a lot of skills that are transferable in tech. For example, in my previous job as a project manager, I had to know what a deliverable is, how to work on a deadline, how to understand the whole scope of a product, how to set goals, how to keep tracks of those goals. And all of these skills are actually very much needed when you're doing software. So what helped me was not only that, of course, I trained myself technically wise. I have started study by my own at first, then I enrolled in a boot camp, and I was, keeping trying to do small project aside with one of my bootcamp colleagues while we were job searching. But what I was really trying to do, and I received a lot of help from the bootcamp I was in, was to shift the vision about I don't have experience. I have experience. I've been a project manager for 6 years, so I have experience. I have a lot of skills like communication skills, problem solving skills, critical thinking skills that are for sure needed when you are starting as a developer, because you need the ability to break problems in smaller parts and try to address it. You need to think out of the box. You need creativity. So my suggestion will be, don't stop at I don't have experience in tech. You don't have experience in tech yet, but you have for sure other kind of experience. From all other different jobs, you can find transferable skills, like even customer care, especially customer care, because if you have to deal with, I don't know, angry customers, you have the ability to solve problem quick. You have the ability to empathize with the person on the other side of the phone, of the screen. All of those skills are needed when you're creating software, because you need to empathize with your user, and sometimes you need to think quick to a solution. So it's just a matter of like looking inside yourself, taking a look at all the things you have done that can be job related, but also volunteering activities or other kind of activities, and extract the skills that you have from there and try to highlight how those skills are useful for the job you're applying to.
Well, you jump started my next question, which is what are the top 5 skills all career driven females, in your opinion, should have?
Yeah, I will try to make them I think of those 5 skills like in batches of 3 and 2, because 3 of them I quite believe they are quite related by them between each other. There is the active listening, the communication, and the ability to empathize. Because without those three, you like, if you don't really pay attention to what the other people are saying, and you are just listening, waiting to your opportunity to reply, you are missing a lot of context there, and then you are not communicating properly. And when we think about software development, it's not just a technical thing. Software development is inherently a social activity, because you are working with machines, but we are working with people, and you need to make people working together good. For that, you need to communicate clearly when you have a problem, to communicate clearly what is the goal, to communicate clearly what is your finding about an issue. So being a good listener, a good communicator are for sure the ones you need. And empathy, I think it's needed for everything in life, and even in that, because it can be the empathy you have to put toward your users, to empathize with your customers, to understand really the deep root of a problem. And it can be also to work in a more effective and collaborative way to your team member. And then with all of those three like secured, I think then it goes natural to go in problem solving and conflict resolution, because as I said, software development is a social activity inherently, and conflict can happen, and you have to learn how to diffuse a conflict, how to de-escalate a conflict, and then you can solve the conflict. Both conflict and problems cannot be solved if you actually don't put first a common understanding what is the problem, what is the conflict, if there is really a conflict, if there is really a problem, and then you can work out the solution. So my top 5 will be communication, active listening, empathy, problem solving, and conflict resolution.
These are very good pointers. I'm sure there are much more, but these are the core that Corinna believes are critical when getting a job in technology or any field, really, if you want to make your career flourish. Now we have another comment from IPO Vid in Patrick's opinion. Thank you so much, Patrick. Great to see back with PhD Beata. Welcome, Corinna. Another fascinating woman in tech and automotive tech too. First Cummins, now Porsche. There you go. Absolutely. We are happy to have such a great representation in the technology and automotive industry, Corinna. Now, coming back to the problem solving, and here is the comment the quotation I always like to use, which is Eleanor Roosevelt once said, women are like tea bags. We don't know our true strength until we are in hot water. In life, how are you in hot water? How are you brewing?
Me? Okay, so I think my hot water situation are like when there is something that need to be solved quickly, like the stress that comes, the adrenaline that comes there, and I'm kind of the person that like goes better when there is a bit of pressure around. Otherwise, I take things a bit more relaxedly. But I don't like to put over pressure on myself because that's what's the point. Then you burn out. So there is like an equilibrium there. But I found in general that when there is something that is a new challenge to be taken, something that I maybe don't know yet, I feel even more motivated and prompt to try to address it.
Mm. It's like your creative side comes into play, and you definitely can think outside of the box to deliver a solution. Is that?
Yeah, I'm a very creative person. I mean, I came from humanistic studies and social studies, so I really like to do creativity stuff. I mean, I have a very bad singer, a worse dancer, and a horrible thrower, but I still do those activities because I enjoy them. I enjoy to sing alone. I enjoy to dance alone, even in the most weird way. And I really like to do a lot of coloring, especially with my daughter. So I think that I have always have this creativity side, and even more from my past experience where I have to do communication work, I have to learn about copywriting, all these kind of things. So that boosted my creativity side as well.
Well, we talked about creativity in previous episodes, and you definitely have to come out of your box to make sure that your children are not bored, and you have to provide for their creative boost and really motivate them. So, how old is your daughter, and how did maternity change you?
So she is 5. She recently turned 5, and I mean, have conflict about these kind of questions, because I think maternity is not that changed me. Maybe it pushed some part of that was already myself to come out more quickly. For sure, it helped me a lot with time management, because otherwise you get lost. Because when you have a kid, you have a lot of puzzle and pieces that you have to make them work together to manage, work-life balance. For sure, creativity boosted there, because kids get bored after 5 minutes of an activity, so you always have to think about that. I think I became more compassionate and caring also. We tried, even before having kids, to be supportive with the colleagues or that were parents. But even more now, I can relate and understand that it's not just about being a parent, it's being a caregiver, because the same challenge and the issue that a parent can face are also the one that another colleague can face, because maybe he's taking care about his parents because they are old and they need help. So I think all of that kind of enhanced these traits in me and make me strive to, okay, let's work on those stuff. And in general, I believe I became more secure about myself, because I mean, putting a human being in this world, it's a huge task. And I found myself doing things I never thought that maybe I would have done otherwise. So in general, my experience with maternity has been very positive. Even though my daughter can be a very challenging person, she has a strong character. uh, in the future, I think that will come an ending. Right now, it's a bit annoying sometimes, because her favorite word is no. So,
That's one of the stages of growing up, learning to say no. Hopefully, she will never forget to say no to the bad things that are happening around the world, whether it's technology or whatever is happening. However, it's not a question about maternity as a female standpoint of view, Corinna. I like to defend my question, because definitely it changes in a way of nature, because we are out of a job for some time. We have to, recover after this huge, strain of on our bodies. But also, it's a thing of you have to think holistically. How do you build your career after that? You have to plan your steps, what and how to care for the child, when I still want to make a career? And I believe, therefore, it's an important question to have, and also important to strengthen the fact that you are logistically advanced, because you not only look after your career, but also about the future of a little human being. Now, sorry, rant over. Now we have a
I agree with
question.
you. Maybe I got wrong your question, but yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to think of many other things now once you
Yeah, well,
on you.
it's a gender, not neutral question, because we can't take out a gender and nature out of this equation, because we are able to bring a little human to this world, and obviously it comes with a cost. And if we have great support system, great support network, it's so much easier. So before I go into the next question, we have from our lovely audience, Lisette, stay with us, we're gonna ask that question. Corinna, what was your support network like? How did you build your support network to make sure that you can have a child, but also keep your career path?
When I had a kid, I was not thinking that far. I have to admit. I mean, I wanted to have a kid, and I had a kid, and I was not in tech yet when she was born. But and my situation changed through time, because I had my daughter with my previous partner, and by the time entered to tech, I was not longer with him. So that added complexity to the picture. Even to be able to attend the boot camp, I had to ask for help there. And at the beginning, it was hard to understand that I cannot make it all by myself, because I've been always been independent person. It's been many years that I live by myself, so it was difficult. But I decide to change the paradigm there a bit. So, for example, my mother flew over here and helped me out with the child duties while I was studying. And then I tried to keep and connected with other women that maybe are in my same situation, with other parents. I find that it's kind of useful to have somebody that can understand and relate to the situation. And I never stopped to be me, even if I was a mother. Like, it was Corinna and Corinna mother, but it was still Corinna at this core. So I didn't stop to be social, for example. I still try to go to as much as possible, combining all the possible pieces, because it's not always easy. There is a lot of events that sometimes are in a time that you cannot attend if you have a young child. There are a lot of events that still doesn't plan to have sitter service, that will be something that really can enhance inclusion there, for example, just to give ideas to people that are doing event managing. So I kept connecting with people. Doing the boot camp enlarged my social social circle by a lot, because before, when I was at the beginning of the year of the lane, I was very much alone. Even if I was in a relationship that was not like working, I didn't have that many people to rely on. I was always also in a situation in which I was not looking for help. I was trying to do everything by myself, so I didn't make the right choices there, looking back. But then it came coming organically. I met people while studying. I met a whole new people while I was starting to go to meetups, to events, and so on. And there is even inside the one community, if you are from Barcelona and you are listening from Barcelona, there is this whole community called Tech Femmes that has inside a group dedicated for mothers in tech. So that can really be helpful, because maybe you can organize some study session late at night. You have other parents in tech that can relate with your situation. That could be of help with that.
Corinna, that's a great answer. Thank you so much. Maybe we should add another soft skill to your 5 skills that are necessary for any female to get a career in tech. That is being able to ask for help, because definitely it doesn't come easy, especially when you're self-sufficient, when you want to build a strong career, you feel like a strong person doesn't ask for help.
Yeah, but actually, it's the contrary. I mean, the fact that you are capable of being vulnerable makes you way more stronger. And admitting that you are not doing something right, that you cannot do it all, that comes with a lot of, humble and being concrete. That's just saying, no, I will do all by myself. That doesn't work most of the time.
We are community based and we need all the help that we can get. And the worst that can happen, you hear no. Now we have a question from Lisette Zulf on, I hope I'm not pronouncing your name incorrectly, on LinkedIn. She's asking, would you recommend doing a boot camp? You mentioned the benefits of boot camp a little bit. Corinna, tell us more about why would you recommend? I believe you would, right?
Yeah, I mean, it all boils down about which kind of learner you are and what works better for you. For me, the bootcamp was very useful because it was a more structured curriculum, because I did also on in person just right after COVID. I really needed to be in person with somebody else out around me, because the whole confinement things was way too much. And so I would recommend to do a bootcamp, but before, I will always recommend people to start looking for free resources on the internet to be sure that you like programming, because there are many things that you can do in tech. You can be a project manager, you can be a data analyst, you can be a scrum master, you can be a UX designer. There are many things there. QA, you name it, there is another. So first of all, I will say, if you are thinking about entering into tech and you are not so much of a solo learner, definitely a bootcamp is a good choice. But since bootcamps, most of the bootcamps are quite expensive, and there is a huge financial investment to do there. Do it wisely. So start to learn a bit by yourself, because from YouTube and in general, there are tons of resources that you can consult to start and to see if you can get the hang of it, and research. Go through LinkedIn and start to type different kind of jobs. Try to ask for a virtual coffee chat to somebody to get more insight. What is the day-to-day of a software developer? What is the day-to-day of a UX designer? What a scrum master does? Because maybe tech is your field, but you don't like programming. Maybe you like another thing. And if you are convinced that you like programming, it still helps that you get a bit of knowledge by yourself before, without being scared. I mean, of course, you will not doing perfect things from the beginning. I mean, if I look at the code I wrote 2 years ago, I'm like, okay. But it's just to get a taste of it and understanding better what is going to be, because boot camps usually are very intensive programs. So there are 3 or maybe 6 months if you do it part-time, but it's a huge investment in money and time. So I will recommend it for sure if you feel that you need more structure in your learning, if you are longing for having some community around, if you are the kind of learner that learns better when you study together with somebody. I will definitely recommend a bootcamp. Also, think that most of the bootcamps also provide you career coaching in the last part. So that definitely something that you can benefit. I benefit a lot. So I will recommend personally, but with the premises that you start studying a bit before by yourself. Otherwise, maybe you can get too much stress because the content is a lot in very few time. So it doesn't hurt to have a bit of understanding of, like, if you're thinking about doing a bootcamp that is JavaScript and React, in Code Academy, there are perfectly fine courses about the fundamentals of JavaScript that you can take, and then you can decide to enroll in a bootcamp.
Right, and content is too much for the span of time. It's very very intense. But once you attended the bootcamp, what next? Have you done anything with the knowledge you ingested, or was it just lots of paper and notebooks, and you never came back to that?
No, it definitely it was there. I mean, I also I'm a very lucky example because literally I found a job 15 days after I finished my bootcamp. This is not the common story there, and it was a mix of me starting to looking for jobs 1 month prior the end of the bootcamp, so I was already very much committed to, okay, I want to enter tech and I want this to be a success story because I mean I have no option to fail there. Think that at the moment that I was studying my bootcamp I was unemployed and I have a kid on my charge, so it was a bit of stress. So I started looking for jobs 1 month prior, and I found the knowledge I learned in the bootcamp definitely useful both for the technical interviews, but also to starting my job. Even if the technology of my current position I did not study it in the bootcamp because I studied in bootcamp JavaScript and React and Vue, Node, SQL, the typical stack that you can find out there. But then I started working with React Native. But still, all the concept that I learned there, the basis that I got about what JavaScript is, how it works, how to actually address problem solving, how to read a bug, all of that came naturally, and I applied it in my day to day to in the job. So it was not just okay, this huge waterfall of information, and then you forget it. It can happen if you find a job in something that is not quite related to the stack you use it, but it's not quite that you trash the knowledge that you have, because still learning to code is not learning a language, is learning a way of thinking, a way to addressing a problem. So that kind of way of thought, it will always be with you. Never, doesn't matter which language you are going to work with.
So now the language you're working with is React, and what happened in that span after landing that first job? How did your life change?
Upside down completely because I mean I never, like, imagine I finish my boot camp and I land my first job in tech, and not with just some random place. I mean, with all due respect, I landed Porsche. So it was like, oh my God, that's a lot. And I was having a bit of, of course, doubt about will what I know be enough? Will people like me? Will they think that, oh, she's just a junior? What a mess. Now we have to train her. But it was a very nice experience from the beginning. Like, I have found a lot of mentors in my way. That, like, one of my colleague, his name is Tom. I think it's one of the most patient person I ever met. I like mentoring can be another skills to add in the pile of the most important one, because the way he teach me and my other colleague that was just starting out have been like, there are very few people that can teach you things without making you feeling small, and that's a very great quality. So my experience was like, whoo. I was, of course, a bit overwhelmed sometimes, because I mean, what I learned at bootcamp was just a fraction of the things that then I have to do. But I really like that I had the opportunity to work hands-on 2 weeks after my onboarding. So I was feeling part of the team and contributing with the team already. That really boosted my overall confidence. And that's like linked and chained with a lot of things that changed then in my life, because I was feeling great that the choice I made was, going to be positive. So this overall boosting of confidence really helped me in a lot of other aspects of my life. And of course it changed economically wise. I mean, that's one of the big topic when we are talking about tech. Tech is a very privileged sector. The kind of money you make in tech, you don't make it when you are doing project management for NGO field. So that really helped me a lot to secure my situation, to be more relaxed, to rethink things, and my long-term planning completely changed, because 2 years before I was like kind of living paycheck by paycheck, and then all of a sudden I was having more stability, and like I found this renewed confidence in what I was capable of.
Hmm. Finding confidence also because you started contributing. How did you manage to contribute even with such a limited knowledge? Is the next question I have.
Because I mean, I think that sometimes there is this preconception about okay, limited knowledge, because it's not that after the bootcamp your brain stopped to absorb information. So I think that what really helped, that was the environment I was in was built on a concept that is called the psychological safety, when you put the focus on the things that you learn from your mistakes and not by blaming people by your mistakes. So even though I was just starting out, the team assigned to me and a colleague to work on a feature that was quite like beginner friendly. So we could start contributing with the knowledge we had without many issue. And one of the things that really helped through my learning curve was that we decided as a team to always prioritize pairing and mobbing, because through pair programming and mob programming, you get the opportunity to learning from other people code while they are coding, to ask questions. It really help, like it's not that you are just watching somebody else coding, you are actively learning from what the other person is doing, and to suggest things and so on. I think that was really enabled me to contribute from the beginning. It was that the environment was a safe space to learn, to try things, and if there was a fake or a fail or a mistake, there was no big deal. It's just okay, what did you learn from the mistake you made? And
That
feeling,
helps a lot.
yeah.
So don't be intimidated by what you don't know. That can be your greatest strength, and ensure that you do things differently from everyone else, as Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, says. Now, let's go into, you mentioned a name of your great mentor. Is there anybody else that you know of that really contributed to your journey? I mean, in terms of career, or
It's
you?
a difficult question, because speaking just one person, it's so difficult, because there is a whole panorama of people that in different way contributing. Like, as I said, my mother flew to Italy to allow me to go to the boot camp. That was already something huge. The partner I found while I was doing all this whole transition into tech, that is been my biggest cheerleader all of the time, had always been there to cheering me up when I was thinking that I was not good enough and doing stuff. And like, just professionally speaking, beside Tom, the I nominated before, another great mentor I had was Irena, was my first PO. That she said something that stuck it with me and still stay with me to today. She said to me once, "Don't market yourself as a junior developer, because you are contributing a lot more with all the things that you know already." And that really makes me, rethink about myself in a different way. So I'm very grateful to have met her. She is a great friend. I mean, she also is kind of my neighbor, so we built a very nice friendship there. And then another one, her name is Caro. She was our UX designer at the beginning. Then she basically played all the possible role in a Scrum team in the period of time I met her. And I can see from her strive to make our company a place where diversity, equity, inclusion are effective. She said always, let's put actions behind words. And they really inspire me with all the community activity that I made and all the initiative that we have inside Porsche Digital Barcelona that helps the community. So these are like the three people, but there are many, many more. From like my colleagues from the bootcamp also, I think, played a huge role, because we shared pain and joy together. So,
Well, that would be a topic for the next PhD. I'm sure there is lots of people that helped you, and I think you're one of the other example of great women who always remember who brought them to the top, and always remember who really inspired them. Now we have a question from our great supporter, IPOV, in Patrick's opinion. He's asking, what is the most interesting thing about working in tech for a global upmarket brand like Porsche?
So I think the most things that are very interesting to work like in a company like Porsche Digital is that we get the opportunity to work with the latest technologies in the field, and that we are given this kind of we have this word inside the company called pioneers, this pioneers attitude in try to do things and learn on the way and be comfortable in your skin, never be afraid to ask questions. I think that's very cool environment. And in the end, you are creating products for a brand, a luxury brand that is well known, that has a huge history behind. So I find it very, very interesting that part. I had the opportunity back in June last year to be in a celebration event for the 75th anniversary of Porsche, in which we met the people that use one of the products my team develops. That was very huge for me. So I mean, being in a working for a luxury brand that uses the latest technology and has this attitude to actually inspiring people to try things, to learn, to have courage to and be committed to continuously improving themselves. I think that's the most cool things that I can name.
That's one of the most cool things. There are much more, and you definitely are a brand ambassador, not just for women tech makers, but also for Porsche. So I hope we're gonna get somewhere whizzing on a Porsche someday because of your great work and effort in promoting the brand. Now, let's imagine we can have a private breakfast with somebody and go somewhere in the location of your choice, Corinna, to have a tete-a-tete. Who would you choose and where would you go to?
So starting from the places, I think my best go to is always doing on a beach because I really like the sun and the sea, and I think I will try to meet maybe Greta Gerwig to explore the possibility to make the Barbie movie like kind of tutorial why like for young Kens to overcome their Ken attitude. It would be a nice conversation.
What do you mean by Ken attitude? For
I
those
mean,
who didn't
the
see
kind of
Barbie Ken.
in the big when in the movie he discovered what patriarchy is and he became the worst stereotype of what white cisgender male can be. That I mean, imagine if that film is breaking down in diversity training mandatory for company like with the kind of humor that she put in the film. I really like it. So it's kind of a conversation I would like to have.
Excellent. Well, we fingers crossed. So, what's the location? Sorry, I ask you for some specifics, but I think you just said some lovely beach, right? Somewhere.
Really, it's on the team with the can stuff.
Ah, excellent. Fantastic. So, speaking of patriarchy and the gatekeepers, what are your way of dealing with the naysayers? If somebody was trying to discourage to going into technology.
So depend on which kind of gatekeepers you're talking about, because if they are just on the internet, my advice is ignore them. Don't listen to the negative people. I mean, if people have time to lose, getting angry with on Twitter or on LinkedIn to say these boot campers doesn't know enough, let them be. Don't listen to them. Like, don't waste your time to do that. You have for sure many other things to do and better invest your time with. And if the gatekeepers it's in person, because maybe somebody else cannot have the same good experience that I have, and they found a colleague that has prejudice because they are coming from a different field, address it. I'm kind of those dog that once bite doesn't leave the arm. So my advice will not don't make other people pushing their feet on your head. Having a conversation in the most polite way and like trying to understand where their prejudice came from, why they are saying no, what is the conflict there, and start to have a productive conversation to shift their paradigm and challenge those stereotypes that person can have. But if they are on the internet, the easy things to do is just ignore them.
Oh, absolutely. You've got much better things to do, as Corinna says. So, speaking of things to do, And you seem to be a bookworm, so I'm wondering, what is the number one book you wish everybody read before they start their career?
So I always have to twist a bit your question because there are two.
Why not?
One of them I recall it is from Jenny O'Deal. It's called How to Do Nothing. That even if the topic of the book is an essay about the current narrative about the attention economy and the conception of what we think about productivity, how rethink ourselves without having the productivity paradigm always inside on the back of our mind. And I found that it's very useful when you are transitioning to tech, because you will hear a lot about we have to deliver value, let's be productive and things. So having a bit of a different way, like take a step back and rethink what productivity means, I think it's very useful in this field to prevent things like burnout that are very, very common in a field like tech. And another one, it's completely different topic. Her name, the author is Mar Gallego, and it's in Spanish, so I don't think it get translated. If there are some Spanish speakers, please check it out. It's called Como Vaya Yo Lo Encuentre, and it's a collection of essays, interview that this author have done around the topic of feminism, the history of feminism in south of Spain. And I found as a woman very, very motivated, because it kind of tells stories that you can relate because you kind of live it in first person. It gives you also perspective about things that you never thought about. And one of the senses of this book that really stuck with me was from an interview that she's done. It says, activism is not for mothers. And it resonates with me a lot because of some of the challenges I found myself when I was, becoming a mother and still want to be community active. Was, for example, the time of the events, the location of the events, and so on. So it really helped me to understand how to do the things maybe in a more inclusive way, not only in my community volunteering activity, but also at work. Like things like the time of a meeting says a lot about are effective of your inclusion policies, for example.
Now, I'm wondering what's the title in kind of translation of the title? Would you
It's like
be
if
able?
I go there and I found it. It's a typical sentences that refers to the typical issue that I don't know, maybe your husband or your partner is not finding something, that asks you, "Oh, where are the keys?" And then you say, "Keys are on the counter." No, they're not. And then you go to the counter and the keys are there. So it's a reference to that kind of situation that we all lived.
Always creative. Always creative answers. Corinna has been our guest today. We are coming to the end. If you didn't have a chance to ask a question, I'm sure you can reach out to Corinna. She's on LinkedIn and she's been promoting our PhD vividly. Thank you so much, Corinna, for that. Are you working on any exciting projects right now?
Yes, indeed. For once, there is a new initiative coming on in my company that I'm working on. That if you'll follow me on LinkedIn, in a few days it will be out there and public. That I'm very, very happy because it will give me the possibility to do what I like the most. That is creating community-driven event and help people to get in tech and share the knowledge around technical topic and growth career topic. And it's kind of, I know that it's kind of cryptic, but in a few days it will be official, and it's something that very excites me, and I still cannot believe that I get the opportunity to work on something like that. And then of course there is the International Women Day coming in, and I'm starting to get in connection with my local group of women tech makers, so I'm very, very excited to see where it goes and how to work on doing this for the first time.
Well, we are looking forward to be working with you along the Women Tech Makers community. And finally, a great quotation from Sheryl Sandberg. If you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask what seat, just get on. And to paraphrase it, if you're offered a seat on Porsche, don't ask what seat, just get on. Now, since we are heading towards the end of PhD, Thank you so much, Corinna, for a great line of answers. And that is of episode 124, first episode in January 2024. I hope everybody's plans for this year are already established and you're sticking to it. What, in terms of your plans, we will be watching, because we are thinking about doing a React basic programming intro with you, Corinna. So hopefully you can come back and light us in great possibilities in the world of technology, not just at Porsche, anywhere you choose if you would like to know React. To stay updated and ensure you never miss a positivity hack delivered, follow Woman on it and turn on notifications to be alerted once a video has been released. We have lots of great supporters and I hope you will support us as well. Just hit that button for subscribe and you will be alerted every time something new is happening on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Next week's PhD, we will have Bernadette Smith. She will be talking about beyond diversity, implementing 360 solutions for lasting inclusion. Thank you so much for our lovely audience who participated: Olga Vasina, Patrick and Ruben Hervas, and Lizette Zilf. And we have a last question, which is life lesson quote. Tell us, what is your life lesson quote and how did it change you, Corinna?
I'm not a life lesson quote girl, but there is one that stuck with me that it's kind of a popular saying. Yeah, I will try to translate it from Italian. That it's basically, how do you seed, you collect. And it stuck with me because basically there is a lot of circumstances that are outside our our power, the thing, the class we are born in, the sex we are born in, the situation, some situation in life we cannot directly change, but that doesn't mean that we are powerless. And I really believe that there is always something that we can try to do. And I really like to put the focus on all the things, little things that you can do, and you see how they come back to you. Like I believe that there is a lot of wrong stuff in the system that we live, but doesn't mean that we have to let this system crash on us or make us being evil and act on our worst side, when we can choose to still be caring and compassionate and help each other and try for community. Don't stay there because the situation are adversarial to you, because I really believe that how you see it, then you collect. That in the end, the karma does its things and things go well if you put effort in it. Don't feel powerless. That's basically what I want to say.
Well, it's in Polish we have a similar quotation, which is how you make your bed, you will sleep that way. And we want to keep the positive note for everyone, and we bring the positive thinking only quotation. Look for something positive in each day, even if some days you have to look a little harder, beyond the naysayers, beyond the people who want to keep you away from achieving your best. And finally, as Maya Angelou says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Today is your day to hack the future. Hack the positivity you want. Thank you.